I thought moving out of my parents' house would finally give me freedom. My own space, my own rules, my own life. Instead, I walked straight into a nightmare. And the worst part? No one believed me. Intro CT. Before we get into this story, if you've ever had a bad roommate, or even a toxic person in your life, hit that like button and subscribe because this story, it only gets worse. Movie Camera Story, Part 1, Detailed Beginning. I still remember the feeling. That mix of excitement and nervous energy sitting in my chest like a low hum. It was the first real step into adulthood. I had just graduated. Not top of my class. Not anything impressive. Just done. A degree in biological science, a decent job lined up, and finally, a reason to move out. For years, I'd shared space with my 3 sisters. Noise was normal. Chaos was normal. Privacy? That was a luxury we joked about. So when I got my first job at the university, I knew it was time. I wanted quiet, control, a space that was mine. That's when my aunt stepped in. The perfect opportunity. Dua, she said one afternoon, leaning casually against the kitchen counter while I was halfway through a sandwich. I might have something perfect for you. That sentence alone should have been my first warning. But at the time, it sounded like a lifeline. She explained it like it was a gift. Her best friend had just bought a house near the university. Not for herself, for her kids. They need roommates to help with the mortgage, she said. It's a good neighborhood. Close to your job. Cheap rent. Cheap rent. That was the magic phrase. I didn't even think twice. First impressions. The house looked normal. Nothing fancy. 2 stories. Slightly older. A little worn around the edges, but solid. It had that quiet suburban feeling. The kind where you could hear birds in the morning and distant lawnmowers in the afternoon. Inside it was split. Basement suite. Main floor. Upstairs bedrooms. I was told I'd be living in the basement with her son and his friends. Perfect. Guys my age. Low drama. Simple. That's what I thought. The first red flag. The moment I walked in with my bags, everything shifted. Oh, you're upstairs. I paused. Upstairs. Her mom, cheerful, overly polite, smiled like nothing was off. Yes, you'll be sharing the upper level with Nicole. Nicole. That name hit like a memory I didn't want to revisit. Flashback, high school Nicole. She was 2 grades below me. And everyone knew her. Not because she was popular, because she was that person. Always raising her hand. Always correcting teachers. Always watching people. If someone whispered during class, she'd notice. If someone broke a rule, she'd report it. People called her a teacher's pet. But behind her back, much worse. Snitch. Rat. Control freak. And now, I was living with her. The reassurance. I pulled my aunt aside immediately. Are you serious? I whispered. Nicole? That Nicole? She waved it off instantly. Oh please. That was high school. People grow up. I hesitated. She was not easy to deal with. She's matured, my aunt insisted. And you grew up with sisters. You'll be fine. That sentence sealed it. You'll be fine. Moving in anyway. So I stayed. Because I needed the place. Because it was cheap. Because I didn't want to go back home and admit failure before even starting. And honestly, the first few days weren't bad. Nicole was quiet. Polite even. A little stiff. A little cold. But manageable. We barely talked. which, to me, was perfect. The calm before the storm. My routine started settling in. Wake up early. Quick shower. Coffee in the kitchen. The house would be quiet in the mornings. Almost peaceful. I'd head to work, come back in the evening, maybe relax in my room, scroll through my phone, or meet friends. Simple life. No drama. No noise. No problems. At least, for the first month. The first post-it note. It was small. So small, I almost laughed when I saw it. A bright yellow square stuck right in the center of my bedroom door. Neatly written. "You're too noisy at night." I stood there for a second, confused. Noisy? I barely made any noise. No music. No TV blasting. No late-night calls. Just walking. Existing. I peeled it off. Shrugged. "Whatever," I muttered. I didn't even bring it up. Then another one. The next day. Another note. Same handwriting. Same bright yellow. "Can you be quieter after 10 p.m.? I stared at it longer this time. A small irritation started forming. Not anger. Just discomfort. Why not just talk to me? Why the notes? But again, I let it go. And another. By the end of the week, there were 5. 5 different notes. Each one slightly more controlling. "Please put both toilet seats down. Wipe the sink after use. Don't slam doors." I wasn't slamming doors. I wasn't making noise. But suddenly, I felt watched. Every movement, every step, like someone was keeping track. The shift in feeling. That's when the house stopped feeling like mine. It became hers. Every room felt monitored. Every action felt judged. I'd walk into the kitchen and hesitate before touching anything. I'd close doors slowly, carefully, almost holding my breath. Not because I had to. Because I didn't want another note. The bathroom rule. Then came the one that changed everything. I walked into the bathroom one evening, and there it was. A bigger note. Right on the mirror. Bold letters. "After you shower, do a full clean of the bathroom." I frowned. Full clean? Like what? I stepped closer. There was more written underneath. Smaller. More aggressive. "All boys pee in the shower. Clean it properly after use." I actually laughed out loud. Not because it was funny. Because it was insane. First real frustration. That night, I sat on my bed, staring at the wall we shared. I could hear faint movement from her room. Drawers opening. Footstep. Something being placed down carefully. Everything she did felt controlled. Precise. And suddenly I realized something. She wasn't just leaving notes. She was observing. Tracking. Judging. The crumb incident. A few days later, I came home from work tired. Dropped my bag. Walked into the kitchen to grab something quick. And froze. Another note. This one was different. It was placed directly next to a single crumb on the counter. Just one. And the note had an arrow pointing at it. "Clean up all your messes." I stared at the crumb. Then at the note. Then back at the crumb. Something inside me tightened. This wasn't normal. The fridge war begins. At first, I thought I was imagining things. But then, my food started disappearing. Not all of it. Just certain things. Leftovers. Half-used items. Anything that had been there for more than a couple of days. I finally asked her, "Hey, did you throw out my food?" She didn't even look at me. "It was going bad." "It wasn't. It affects my milk," she interrupted. I blinked. Your milk. Yes. Old food makes it spoil. I looked at the fridge. At the giant 4-liter jug sitting there. Half full. Probably weeks old. And that's when I realized. Logic didn't matter. Internal pressure builds. Every day became heavier. I started overthinking everything. Did I close the fridge too loudly? Did I leave something out? Was I breathing too loud? It sounds ridiculous, but when someone constantly criticizes you in small ways, it builds, like pressure in a sealed room. Slow, invisible, but dangerous. Then came the next problem. My friends. They barely even came inside. Sometimes they'd knock, step in for a minute, and we'd leave together. That's it. But somehow, that was a problem too. One evening, I came back to find a new note. Bigger than the others. More aggressive. Your friends are loud and messy. This needs to stop. That was it. No discussion. No conversation. Just accusation. That night, I didn't peel the note off. I left it there, sat on my bed, and for the first time since moving in, I felt angry, not confused, not uncomfortable, angry, because nothing I did was wrong, and yet, I was being treated like I was the problem. I stared at that note for a long time, longer than I should have, because for the first time, I seriously considered doing something about it, not ignoring it, not staying quiet, but actually confronting her. And that decision, that moment, that's when everything started to spiral out of control, that I should have kept ignoring her. I should have just stayed quiet like before. But that night, something in me snapped, and the moment I decided to confront her, that's when everything changed. If you think speaking up always makes things better, wait till you see what happened next. Didn't sleep that night. Not properly. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept replaying it. That note. That stupid, aggressive, passive-aggressive note sitting on my door like it owned the place. Your friends are loud and messy. This needs to stop. The words felt heavier the longer I stared at them. Like they weren't just instructions. They were control. And for the first time since moving in, I didn't feel like adjusting. I felt like pushing back. The morning decision. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. Not because I had to. Because my mind wouldn't shut off. The house was quiet. Too quiet. That same stillness, but now it felt different. Tense. Like something was waiting. I stepped out of my room slowly. The hallway light was off. Her door was closed. No sound. I walked into the kitchen, made coffee, stood there, staring at nothing, thinking, replaying every note, every weird rule, every small moment that I brushed off. And that's when it hit me. If I didn't say something now, this would never stop. The confrontation begins. I walked back into the hallway. My heart was beating faster than it should have been. It was ridiculous. I wasn't about to fight someone. I was just talking, right? I raised my hand. Knocked. Once. No response. Knocked again. A pause. Then. Movement. Slow footstep. The door opened just a few inches. Nicole stood there. Half hidden. Her face completely blank. The first exchange. Yes. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I need to talk to you, I said. She didn't open the door further. Just stood there. Waiting. I took a breath. About the notes. A small pause. Then. I leave them so there's no confusion. That answer. Wasn't normal. No, oh sorry, no explanation. Just justification. I felt something tighten in my chest. I'm not being loud. I said, trying to keep my tone even. My friends aren't causing problems. They're barely even here. She tilted her head slightly, like she was analyzing me. They're disruptive. They're here for 20 minutes. They're still disruptive. Her tone didn't change. Not even a little. I exhaled slowly, trying not to lose it. Okay, but your boyfriend is here all the time. With his friends. They leave food everywhere. They're loud. For the first time, her expression shifted. Not guilt. Not embarrassment. Something else. Annoyance. The double standard. That's different. I blinked. How is that different? They're guests. I actually laughed. A short, disbelief-filled laugh. So are my friends. No, she said flatly. They're not. The realization, first layer. That was the moment something clicked. This wasn't about rules. It wasn't about noise. It wasn't about cleanliness. It was about control. Her rules. Her space. Her version of reality. The argument escalates. You're throwing out my food, I said, my voice sharper now. That's not okay. It's expired. It's not expired. It affects my milk. That doesn't even make sense. She didn't respond immediately. Just stared at me. And then, if you don't like it, you can leave. Silence. That sentence hung in the air. Heavy. Cold. Final. I stared at her, waiting for something else. Anything. But she just stood there. Completely still. Like she had already ended the conversation in her mind. False confidence. And that's when something unexpected happened. I didn't back down. Or, I said slowly, we can act like normal roommates. A pause. You stop touching my stuff. You stop leaving note. And we both mind our own business. For a split second, I thought I saw hesitation. A crack. Something human. The agreement. Fine, she said. Just one word. Flat. Emotionless. And then she closed the door. The aftermath. I stood there for a few seconds, processing. That went better than expected. No screaming. No meltdown. No drama. Just done. The false victory. That entire day felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. I went to work, focused better, even joked with coworkers. For the first time since moving in, I felt like I had taken control back. The first strange event. That night, I went to bed early, exhausted, mentally drained, but calm. I fell asleep faster than usual. Everything felt quiet, normal, until, bang, my eyes snapped open. Another sound, thud. I sat up, heart racing, and then, bang, 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 the wall, right next to my bed. The noise. At first, I thought it was an accident. Something fell. Maybe she dropped something. But then, it kept going. Rhythmic. Deliberate. Like someone was hitting the wall. Hard. The screaming. And then I heard it. Her voice. Muffled through the wall. But loud enough. She was screaming. Not words at first. Just noise. Angry. Wild. Uncontrolled. Confusion. I froze. Sitting there in the dark. Listening. Trying to understand what was happening. Was she on the phone? Arguing with someone? But no. There were no pauses. No responses. Just her. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 30. She didn't stop. The banging. The screaming. It kept going. Over and over. Like a loop. The first doubt. That's when the thought hit me. This isn't normal. The second event, worse. The next night, it happened again. Same time. Same wall. Same intensity. But this time, it started earlier. And it was louder. The pattern. I started noticing something. It always happened after I went to sleep. Never before. Never during the day. Only when everything was quiet. Only when I couldn't do anything about it. The third event, panic begins. By the third night, I didn't even try to sleep. I just lay there, waiting, watching the clock, and right on time, bang, my chest tightened. Calls and confusion. The next morning, I called my aunt, explained everything. The note, the food, the screaming, all of it. There was silence on the other end. Then, I don't think that's happening. I blinked. What? She's not like that. I'm telling you. You're probably misunderstanding. Isolation. That was the moment. Everything shifted again. Not just the house, but outside of it too. Because now, it wasn't just Nicole. No one believed me. Final build to realization. That night, I sat in my room, lights off, back against the wall we shared, listening, waiting, thinking, about everything, the note, the rules, the argument, the screaming, the denial, and for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel frustrated. I felt something worse. Cliffhanger, realization moment. Because it finally clicked. This wasn't just a bad roommate situation. This wasn't normal conflict. This wasn't something I could fix by talking. Something was seriously wrong. And whatever it was, it wasn't going to stop. He didn't react because he already had a plan. Some people scream. Some people fight. And some, wait, because the quiet ones? They don't forget. And they don't forgive. I sat there in the dark, back pressed against the wall we shared, listening, waiting, understanding, not just what she was doing, but why. At first, it had felt random. The note, the rules, the food, the accusations. But now, it all lined up, perfectly, too perfectly. She didn't explode during the day. She didn't argue like a normal person. She avoided confrontation, avoided accountability, avoided reality. And then, at night, when I was most vulnerable, when I couldn't respond, when I couldn't defend myself, that's when she unleashed everything. The screaming, the banging, the chaos, connecting the pattern. It wasn't just anger. It was control. Everything she did had a pattern. During the day, passive control, notes, rules, restrictions. At night, psychological attack, noise, fear, exhaustion. She wasn't trying to live with me. She was trying to break me. Slowly, quietly, systematically. The shift inside me. And that's when something changed inside me. Not loudly. Not dramatically, just quietly. I stopped feeling angry, stopped feeling the need to argue, stopped expecting fairness, because I finally understood something. You can't reason with someone like that. You can't win normally. The birth of the plan. So instead of reacting, I started thinking, observing, watching, the same way she had been watching me. I paid attention to everything. Her routine, her habits, her patterns. She woke up late, always, around 10 or 11, moved slowly in the mornings, took long showers, very long, sometimes 30 to 40 minutes. She was obsessed with cleanliness, not normal cleanliness, extreme, controlled. Every item in the bathroom had a specific place. Her shampoo lined up perfectly, conditioner next to it, toothbrush angled, Face products arranged like a display. The idea. And that's when the thought first appeared. Small. Almost ridiculous. I dismissed it at first. Because it felt childish. Petty. Wrong. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. The justification. She had taken control of my environment. My sleep. My food. My peace of mind. And no one believed me. No one saw it. No one cared. So why? Why should I play fair? Breaking point. The night that sealed it was the worst one. I had an early shift the next day. Important. Couldn't afford to be tired. So I tried everything. Earphones. Pillow over my head. White noise. Nothing worked. She was louder. More aggressive. More unhinged. The longest night. 2 hours. 3 hours. Non-stop. Banging. Screaming. Laughing. At one point, she started dragging something heavy across the floor. Back and forth. Back and forth. Like she wanted me to hear it. Like she knew I was awake. The collapse. By morning, I wasn't just tired. I was hollow. Drained. Mentally exhausted. I went to work. But I couldn't focus. Made mistakes. Got called out. Embarrassed. And for the first time, it started affecting my life outside the house. Desperate calls. That evening, I called my aunt again. More direct this time. "This is serious," I said. "I can't live like this." She sighed. Actually sighed. "Dua, you're overreacting." That word hit harder than anything Nicole had done. Isolation deepens. Because now, I wasn't just trapped physically. I was alone in it. Completely. Decision made. That night, I didn't wait. I didn't hesitate. I didn't question it anymore. I woke up early. Before her. Quietly walked into the bathroom. Closed the door behind me. And stood there. Looking at her perfectly arranged things. The execution, full reveal. For a moment, I just stared. At the shampoo. The conditioner. Her toothbrush. Her lotions. Everything she cared about. Everything she controlled. Then slowly, calmly, without emotion, I started. The shower. She believed something about me. Something ridiculous. That all boys did something disgusting in the shower. So I made it true. Not because it was who I was, but because it was what she expected. The product. Then, her shampoo. Opened it. Paused for a second. Then, continued. Same with the conditioner. Her lotion. Her carefully organized, perfectly placed routine. Destroyed. Quietly. The toothbrush. That one. I hesitated. Not out of guilt, but because of what it meant. This wasn't just petty anymore. This was personal. But then I remembered. Every night. Every scream. Every lost hour of sleep. Every moment of being called a liar. And I didn't stop. The aftermath. I cleaned up. Carefully. Put everything back exactly how it was. Precise. Perfect. Like nothing had changed. The shift in power. That day felt different. Not because anything outside changed, but because inside, I wasn't powerless anymore. Living with the secret. Days passed. Then weeks. She never said anything. Never reacted. Never noticed. Or maybe she did, but couldn't prove it. Chaos intensifies, externally. But life didn't suddenly get better. In fact, it got worse. Her boyfriend. He started coming over more. Staying longer. Bringing friends. Loud. Messy. Disrespectful. The mess. Food everywhere. Half-eaten takeout. Drinks left out. Trash piling up. And every time, somehow, it became my responsibility. Accusations. You need to clean this. This is disgusting. You're irresponsible. Even when I hadn't touched anything. Psychological toll. At this point, I stopped defending myself, stopped arguing, because I knew logic didn't matter, truth didn't matter. Emotional breakdown. One night, I just sat on my bed, lights off, completely still, and for the first time since moving in, I felt it. Not anger, not frustration, something deeper, exhaustion. The kind that sits in your bones. Acceptance phase. That's when I made the final decision. I was leaving. Didn't matter if I lost money. Didn't matter what anyone thought. I was done. The cost. $500 deposit. Gone. Blamed for damage I didn't cause. Holes in her wall. Somehow my fault. Of course. Final days. Before leaving, they gave me instructions. Clean your room. Clean the bathroom. Like I owed them something. The last look. On my final day, I stood in the bathroom one last time. Looked at everything. Unchanged. Undisturbed. Unaware. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt something unexpected. Twist, respect. Because what she did, how she controlled everything, how she avoided accountability, how she manipulated perception. It was calculated, deliberate, smart in a twisted way. 20 years later, time passed. Life moved on. New places, new people, better experiences. I forgot about her completely until a few weeks ago. The pub. I was out with friends, relaxed, laughing, drinks on the table. Normal night. Then, they walked in. Nicole. And her husband. Same guy. The old pattern returns. At first, I ignored it. Didn't care. 20 years had passed. Who cares? But they did. They started talking. Loud enough for everyone. About me. Old stories. Twisted versions. How I was a bad roommate. A charity case. How her mom helped me. The table reacts. My friends looked confused. Because they knew me. Knew my life. Knew it didn't match. The final moment. I could have stayed quiet. Ignored it. Walked away. But then, I looked at her. Really looked. Same expression. Same control. Same attitude. And something in me decided it was time. The reveal. Calmly. Quietly. I told her. Everything. What I did. Where. How. She froze. Completely. Her face. Twisted instantly. Disgust. Shock. Horror. Her husband looked at her. Confused. Then realized. And his expression changed too. They didn't argue. Didn't respond. Didn't say a word. They just left. Immediately. And me? I just sat there. Took a sip of my drink. And felt nothing. No victory. No regret. Just closure. Because here's the truth. Not every battle needs to be loud. Not every revenge needs to be visible. And not every toxic person deserves your energy. Sometimes, walking away is enough. And sometimes, silence carries the loudest consequences. If you've ever dealt with someone like this, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Because real stories, they hit different.